Good evening and namaskar and welcome to ZoomIn number 88, our virtual get together. And I'm delighted to welcome you all on behalf of the Vasant Vihar Club. As many of you may recall, April 22 or the April 22nd is or was World Earth Day. And as a garden is always a series of losses set against a few triumphs, like life itself, and telling us how to triumph and navigate and share a special insight about taking care of plants during these hot summer months. We have with us Mrs. Shyama Balbir. Welcome, Shyama ji. Welcome to Zoom in 88. Shyama ji, this is her third time or fourth time here, so we are delighted to have her here. Shyama ji is the president of Floriculture Society, Noida. She's the president of the O'Hara School of Ikebana. She's the vice president of the All India Kitchen Garden Association. She's the vice president of Delhi Ikebana International. She is the past president of Indian Bonsai Association, and she is the secretary of the Chrysanthemum Society of India. She is an economics postgraduate and had Amartya Sen and Dr. Manmohan Singh as her professors. Shyamaji got interested in gardening only in the early 90s, and since then she has been a teacher and she's been teaching the art of ikebana, bonsai, gardening now for many years to come. I mean, she's been doing this for a long, long time now. So it's never too late to take up gardening. And as they say, a garden is a grand teacher. It teaches patience and careful watchfulness. It teaches industry and thrift, but above all, it teaches entire trust. Shamaji, I want to begin this evening by asking you this question. Is patience and watchfulness a key to having a happy plant?
Absolutely, absolutely, Sanjana. Patience is what gardening teaches you. In fact, it's a byproduct of gardening, because if you are impatient with your plants, they teach you that nature will flow in a certain way and nothing can stop it or hasten it. Nothing can be done about that.
कोई किताब दे दो ऐसे रखने के लिए.
So
Something to
gardening,
make it
yes.
stand.
And watchfulness, because
उधर
when
से
you
कोई लिया
are
उधर से कहीं से
gardening,
लिया. Any
when you are gardening, you find that it is so meditative. And when you are in your garden, actually you have no other thoughts. So there is, and of course, watchfulness, because you are all the time very, very alert to what is happening to your plant. If you're a genuine and a passionate gardener. So I think that should have answered your question. But yes, you need patience for it.
And does patience comes with time, or you can start with patience and the patience becomes better, or
Yes,
patient and learn how to be patient?
it teaches you how to be patient. It
Okay.
teaches you.
Right.
Because you cannot expect instant results. This is one place where you have to wait for nature to take its course.
Right.
So it teaches you to remain patient, and then thereby, hopefully, it flows down to your everyday life also.
Okay. So the topic of the talk today is how to take care of plants during the summer months. Please share with us your insight on that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for, first of all, for having me. It's always a pleasure, because I know I'm in the midst of friends and I have so many friends over here. So a lot of my friends are already, I think, have heard me speak on this topic several times. But nevertheless, I shall just once again go through my thoughts and what I do. Generally, my whatever my observations, they're all based on experience and not from books, because gardening is not from books. You do
Wow.
read books to
Mm-hmm.
get guidelines, but finally it is your experience which in itself can be translated into a book. So don't think you can be an armchair gardener by sitting on a chair and instructing your Mali to do it. Because until you yourself are passionately involved with each and every plant in your garden, you will not see that progress also.
Okay.
Now, this time, as you all know, right from the 15th of March, we have gone straight into summer.
Right. I know
And
we don't have the spring this time at all.
no spring, hardly a spring.
Hmm.
By the time we thought we could appreciate all our winter flowers and everything, it was time for the sun to take over. And really, we didn't enjoy it as much as we normally do. Now, right, of course, most of you must have already resorted to a lot of, things to do to protect your plants. But nevertheless, just a few points that I would like to share with all of you is that plants can be divided into two sections, really, indoor and outdoor plants, especially for urban gardens. Now, when it comes to your indoor gardens, they are all they are classified as indoor because they require less light, sunlight, and less light in itself. So these plants are already in a shady area and are protected because they are indoors. So these indoor plants, you probably keep them in verandas, or you keep them indoors in some section of your house. Wherever you keep them protected, the point is that they all require protection in this hot summer. First of all, best thing with all indoor plants is to crowd them together. If you crowd all your indoor plants together, indoor plants, one more requirement that an indoor plant has is humidity. Now, all these plants are unfortunately not suited really for Delhi. But we as passionate gardeners, we want to grow them because of their beauty, because of their foliage and their beauty. So when we try to grow them we are not a very hospitable environment in Delhi to grow these plants. So we have to protect them and save them and keep them by giving them some extra bonuses like crowding them together. Now, when you crowd all your plants together, what happens is that plants are absorbing water from their root system, and they use this water as a medium only. It doesn't provide any kind of nutrition or anything. It just dissolves some of the salts in the soil, and uses those salts, is a medium to carry those salts up to the furthest part of the plant, where to the leaves and to the ends of the leaves, where through photosynthesis the plant makes its food. So actually the plant makes its food, it makes its own food. So if your soil is normal and it's a standard normal soil, the plant itself will make its food. So when it's doing this, then it makes it food. The same water takes it back and stores it in wherever the plant tends to store it. See, every plant has its own warehouse. Like, for instance, your spinach or your green plants, they store their food in their leaves. Then you have plants which are like sugarcane. It stores it in its stems. Then you have all your other vegetables like carrots and mooli and all, they store it in their roots. So each plant does it in its own way. But most of indoor plants, the food is stored in the leaf. And when that is stored, then the excess water is expelled by the plant through its leaves, the holes in its leaves, which are on the underside, more on the underside of a leaf. Now, when it expels this water, it creates an environment of humidity. So if you crowd all your plants, all of them are assisting each other by throwing out this excess water and creating that humidity for them. You crowd them and you put them in an area which is barricaded at least on two sides by either a wall or a net or something, some kind of a human fence. You can have some kind of a fence which you can make and put all your plants around it. Now, after you crowd them together, you have to see that they are protected from hot winds. Now, the major problem in Delhi is the hot winds, and we've had already couple of blasts from this desert, and we've got those hot winds. Now, these hot winds rob the plant of all its moisture. So that is another danger point. So when you barricade it from two sides, and particularly from the west and southwest side, then you save your plants from hot winds. Now, near your indoor plants, you can have little bowls of water, even to assist your plant a little more to create that humidity. Now, what else can we do for humidity? Is that you have these small, saucers under your plant, especially terracotta pots. They always have a little saucer. Then if you have those, even if some of the water which you have given to your plant gets deposited in those saucers, leave it, let it be. Or sometimes even fill it up with a little bit of water so that evaporation also creates humidity around your plants. You can take a bigger tray, or in this tray itself, you can put pebbles. Put pebbles on this tray, fill it up with water and put your plants on top. Now the hole should be slightly above the level of water, so that water is not blocking that hole. You see, we need that hole to for excess water also to drain out. So let that hole be free. It also needs a bit of circulation under that hole, because when there is circulation, air circulation there, then also plant requires air also. The two things that a plant requires is air and water. If you give it air and water at any point of time, then the plant will be very happy. It doesn't need anything else. All fertilizers, manures, etc. are only add-ons. What the plant basically needs is air and moisture. So when we water the plant soil absorbs whatever is there, water level it can absorb up to, and the excess water is thrown out through this hole. So we must leave it open so that the water can be drained out. Now, so if you put pebbles and then you make your pot sit on top of it, then also it helps a lot, because again that air around that hole is moist. So it will create again a lot of humidity. Thereafter, the other tricks that we use is that you can take gunny sack, टाट जो और बोरी का मटेरियल जो है वो आजकल थान के इस पे भी मिलता है, and otherwise you can have boris in your house also. Of course, all of us now have these plastic boris, so those do not help as much as jute ka bori जो है, जो टाट का मटेरियल है, that helps a lot. If you can take clumps of that and put them under your plants, then every time you water your plant, this bori gets wet. Now this bori takes a long time to evaporate, the water to evaporate. So it remains wet for a much longer time. So if you can crowd your plants and put bori under it, then also it protects it from the extreme summer that we are facing. The other thing is, you can even wrap your plants with this bori. Wrap your pots, especially if it's terracotta pots. Terracotta pots already are breathing. So when you cover it with this tart, the tart also has a lot of spaces for breathing. So the air can get expelled out also, and yet it keeps the pot cool because of the evaporation taking place. This is also one way of protecting your plants from and giving it that extra humidity that you. One other trick that I learned from somebody actually in a village, and that was that he kept a bucket of water at a higher level and dipped one end of a long toweling material. So one end was in the water and the other end was flowing over his pots. So as long as the bucket had water, this end was always wet and moisture was flowing down this toweling material and over the soil. So what it did was that it kept the soil damp. It also did not allow hot winds to rob you of that topsoil, which is so important for every plant, and it kept it in a moist condition. So this was also a trick which I thought was very, very good. As long as there's water in this bucket,
Right.
it's, you know, it's always damp. So if someday you even forget to water your plant or something, your plant is protected. So if you're leaving the city, you're leaving your plants for some reason for a week or so, you could do this at several places and leave these buckets of water. Now, I know all of you are going to ask this question, is that we are now causing water everywhere and therefore breeding mosquitoes. That is true. That is becomes a place for mosquitoes to breed. But if you keep rechanging this water also, it's good. And when you're watering your plants, so anywhere water gets sprinkled onto these little saucers of water, or you can anyway replace them every day. Worst comes to us, you're away for a week and you don't want to breed mosquitoes, then put 2 or 3 drops of neem oil in these various saucers and this bucket of water also. You can put a little bit of neem oil and you will not find any mosquitoes growing. So this is some of the ways in which you can protect your indoor plants, which are all, inside. Now, you know that when indoor plants doesn't mean that they are forever indoors. They have to be, especially in summer, I find that they are required to be brought out every 4th day. Bring them out in the evenings, keep them in a protected area or in your garden. If you have a garden, fine. If you do not have a garden, also bring it out under the sky and water them thoroughly. Water the leaves, wash them off all the dust, because the dust is what I just told you. The stomata, the holes which are there on the leaves, the dust blocks these holes. So you can keep watering your plant, but because these holes are blocked, the excess water is not being allowed to expel out. So then your plant will store water. There will be water stored and stagnant water inside the stem and inside your leaf. And then that is where you will see that a lot of your leaves will start turning yellow. And when they start turning yellow, then and you touch it, they are soft to your touch, then it's because water is blocked. So therefore, it's very important for you to wash your plants thoroughly. So wash them and leave them overnight outside. In the morning, before the sun rises, bring them all in. The excess water would have drained out, and then you can bring them and put them back in wherever you like to put them. I would much rather that during the summer, do not resort to putting them in your balcony, in your rooms. Though we are told that a lot of plants, some of the plants are very good for the indoor pollution also, but keep them in an area which is doesn't get blasts of air. So if you keep them in your bedrooms or something, you have an AC running all the time. AC is very dehydrating for your plant. So once again, you'll have to be very watchful that whether your plant is suffering any stress. So it's much better you let your plants also take a vacation from their decoration and are grouped together, and they are in one place where they are well protected. So do this every 4th or 5th day and bring them in. Then you will find a lot of your plants will remain fresh through this, even this acute summer. Now,
Do you need any manure or fertilizer to these plants?
I will talk about the feeding also. I'm just coming to that. Now we come to outdoor plants also. Now a lot of your plants outdoors, which are either in your balcony or in your terraces, you are either growing them in containers, or if you're lucky enough to have some land, then you're growing them in the ground. Now the moment you're growing them in the ground, they are immovable. You cannot take them in and put them in shade or anything like that. But what you need to do is that if you find that these plants are too sensitive to the excess heat that we have, then we have to put some kind of a shade cloth. We have a lot of green nets and white nets, and these days we are recommending white nets instead of green net, and that also cuts down the light by 50%. This kind of heat has a glare, and that is too much light for your even for some of your outdoor plants. So therefore, some of your delicate ones like your crotons and your hibiscus, they require a little bit of protection. Ficuses and all, which are already outdoors, and if they are happy there, then ficuses are hardy plants. A lot of your otherwise murayas and all these are all hardy plants. So distinguish between the hardy and the delicate ones. So which are sensitive and delicate, if you are lucky enough to grow them in pots, then once again you have to crowd them together and put them in a semi-shade area. Now for semi-shade area, again, even your indoor plants, when you have bigger pots and you have a lot of soil which is empty around this, like we have a Erica palm growing, but around it we have a lot of soil and everything. Put your smaller pots on that soil. The moment you put your smaller pots in that soil, you are again conserving that soil from being flown away. Secondly, you are, because these are all terracotta pots on top of the soil, they themselves will allow moisture to flow into your pot and will conserve the moisture in your pot. So if you have outdoors, if you have some nice big bushy plants, then hide your other sensitive plants under it, like your ferns and some of your, other peace lily. These all do get sunburnt. So it's better to crowd them under these. If you are lucky enough to have a tree, then nothing like a tree to shade your plants. I've got a palm growing in my garden and I have a tree. So I just hide it behind that tree, and it's there in the winter, it's there in the summer, and it remains protected because that tree is providing the humidity also and it's providing protection. So if you have some kind of bigger bushes or trees, hide your plants under them. Otherwise, put some net in it. Also, mulching your plants is very important. Now, as we are growing, and like you said, soil. It was the Earth Day. On the Earth Day, we were talking about soil. And the whole idea now of this natural gardening is that weeds are not your enemies. Now, I know this is very strange and will sound strange to you. Weeds are not enemies. In fact, they are companion plants. So why do they grow under these trees? Because the tree allows it to grow. And that tree and these weeds are companions. So especially in summer, do not de-weed. Let your plants have those weeds. They are with their roots holding on to the soil, and at the same time when you're giving water, it conserves water also because there is a shade created by these weeds. So thirdly, why are we talking so much about soil? Along with Sadhguru, and everybody is now battling for the soil, because with all this excess chemical usage, we have killed the microbacteria which is there in the soil, which allows things to grow. If you do not have this bacteria, we are going to create deserts, because now no plants will grow unless there's bacteria which will turn the food which is lying in the soil into a friendly, into a compound which is easy for the plant to absorb. It's this microbacteria that does it. And it's not the soil that does it on its own. No, there are millions and millions of these little bacteria which are inside, friendly bacteria, which is keeping the soil rich. It is this bacteria which needs also food to eat. So if these little weeds that create all their root system, and they through their roots they expel out a lot of chemicals in an organic manner. They expel out that organic chemicals for the soil to have. So there is they call it the world, what they call it, wild web, which is there in the root system of all the plants growing together. They are talking to each other through their root system, and they are exchanging nutrients. So if palak requires a lot of nitrogen, and if there is a pea plant around, its roots give out nitrogen. So if you have matar growing along with your palak will grow better. So coming back to our topic, all plants, therefore, even if you have weeds, this is helping your microbacteria to proliferate. So if we do not have weeds, then we can create by mulching by putting a whole lot of your compost, household compost. Now there is again a big, we are all trying to fight for this, is to make your own compost from your waste, so that you will send out less waste, and the MCD can just sit back and do what it's been doing all along, not doing anything. So how do we save our society from it? Is by converting all our waste into a compost, which we can again go take it back. So it's actually table to farm and from farm to table. That's how things are growing. So we have to have this cycle. So if you've got compost, take a whole lot of compost and put it on top of your soil, and you can cover it with some light net or something, so that it doesn't fly off or anything. Compost is heavy. It normally doesn't fly off. If you do not have your own compost, then take some lot of your patti ki khad. You can get patti ki khad and put it over your plants. Moss grass, anything you can put on top. Wood shavings also, you can put them on top. Now, the moment you do that, there is a lot of bacteria in your compost, in your patti ki khad, in your wood shavings. All these will encourage more and more bacteria to grow. So your plant is being protected at the root level in any case. And you are protecting it from the top with creating all this humidity. So mulching is something we are encouraging a lot. You must mulch your plants, because that will again conserve water and conserve your soil. Both are very, very important for this outdoor also and for indoors. If you put compost on top of it and you keep watering, your nutrition is going into your plant, and at the same time the soil is also being conserved. Now coming to feeding, both indoor and outdoor plants, you have protected it. Now I will talk about feeding, then I'll talk about watering also. Now feeding, we give during this period also, we feed our plants, though a lot of us do believe that once the temperatures go beyond 42 degrees, then the old system was that do not feed your plants. But by putting my compost, or if I use organic matter like neem khali, bone meal, and seaweed extracts like BioVita, and also I have told you people about bioenzymes, which we make again from the house.
Yes.
I've given the recipes also enough. And people do not take it seriously, because it's something you have to do it at home, and you say, "Acha kaise kare ye wo," and all that. It's so easy. But you must appreciate the benefits of this bioenzyme. Now in this season, even in 42 degrees, after all, even as a human being, I'm also eating, I'm also drinking. I drink much more than we eat because the summer is so hot that it's better to hydrate yourself. So is the plant doing. Plant is also drinking lots more, but it's also taking, there is an activity is going on. So it requires some amount of assistance at this time also. So what we do is we give this bioenzyme, or we give biovita. Biovita is a seaweed extract. Now seaweed extracts are cooling for the plant, so it will bring the temperature also down for the plant. And bioenzymes, they keep your physiological balance within the various nutrients and between the growth of your plant also. It retains that balance. So it's very important that you can keep feeding. So do not think that you don't have to feed your plants or something, but light feeding like this once in 15 days, 20 days, you can give your plants, and you should. Now, the other thing is that do not do any kind of drastic pruning or cutting. No, because at this time, what the plant is actually doing is that it is air conditioning itself. So the more foliage it has, the better it is for that plant. Because when the moisture goes up, that many more leaves are exuding out excess moisture. And if that moisture gets evaporated, and this plant is cooling itself down. This water that is being used in summer, 75% of this water is used for air conditioning the plant. The plant is air conditioning itself. And that's why if you don't give it water, it sort of folds its leaves. Why does it fold its leaves? Because it's blocking all those stomata and it shuts it down. It says, I cannot let any water go away now because I need it for myself, to cool myself down. That the moment your plants are wilting like this, you know the plant requires water and you water your plant. Mm-hmm. So therefore, just for this reason, it is therefore very, very important that you allow foliage to remain. Do not do any cutting, any pruning. Even if it's growing a little wild, let it be in summer. Do not allow, don't trouble your plants so much. Later, you will find as humidity builds up by the 15th of June, then these plants will be shooting out new shoots. Then immediately you know now the plant is happy and you can start pruning your plant. But of course, remove all the dried branches, remove all those, because we don't want any excess work for the plant to do. You see, when a plant is drying, any branch is drying, the plant is rushing to keep it alive. It's using all its energy to keep that portion alive. So when it's doing that, it's actually working a lot more. So you assist the plant, you know this branch is drying, so you cut it off so that the plant doesn't have to do this excess work. But otherwise, green portion, just let it grow. Also, don't change their places. If you have kept them in a place, like I told you, crowd them and put them in an area and block your south, west and your west area, then if you've kept it there, don't keep changing the places, because at this stage, they do not like to get accustomed to a new place. Okay, so, and other thing is that you must watch out for stress. Now, this is where I say, as a gardener, it's your primary job to go and look at all your plants once in the day, whether it's morning or evening, suit yourself. But you must look at your plant, because your plant will tell you the moment it's suffering stress, it will tell you there is a problem. Then you take that plant from there and keep it in a shady area. Do not water sick plants. Sick plants should be allowed to dry out. And then look out for it, see what is the problem. If it's infested with insects, treat it, deal with it at that time. So that the moment you take it out and put it in a sanctuary, in a sanatorium kind of an area, shady area, then the plant is allowed to start reviving all over again. Also, it will not infect your other plants. So you have to watch out for all these signals that your plants give you. Then watering. You need to water your plants first with a shower. If you know you're getting a lot of these shower heads, okay, you don't want to buy a shower head, and I can tell you a lot of your shower heads which that you use inside your bathrooms, even they are helpful. Just attach it to your pipe and you press it, you get a shower of water. Showering is very important again to clean all your plants. So this is for all your outdoor plants. Before you start watering, shower your plants with water nicely so that all the dust is. Now you come and start watering your plants. In summer, when you water your plants, you have to water it slowly. That means you stay at this pot for a little time and allow the water to flow. Because if you are in a rush and you are just spraying it like this, what happens? Only the topsoil gets wet. When the topsoil gets wet and it doesn't drain down to the roots will rise up. The roots will rise up for this water, and then your plant is shaky. One jakkad and your plant will fall off. What is happening to all the trees? This is the reason why trees are falling all over Vasant Vihar also, because the moisture is not reaching the root level. So whenever you're watering, please water your plant 1, 2, 3, 4, and come back to 1 again and water it once more. That way the water will reach right down to the root level. Water in the morning, early morning before sunrise, and mist in the evenings. In the evenings, just mist your plants. Now, I want to tell all those who have got balconies and terraces. I know a lot of you will say, no, it requires water twice a day. Believe me, if you do not water it in the evening and you are diligent about watering it in the morning, but just mist your plants, that will also protect your plants. You do not have to water twice a day. What is bound to happen is what we tend to do is overwater. We are overwatering. We are just watering because we feel garmi hai to pani dena hai. Please check your plant. Does it require water? Is it damp at the top? If it's damp at the top, leave it. Don't worry. It will ask for water the next day. You water it the next day. But don't worry at all. I leave, even in this 42 degrees, I leave my Sunday as a waterless day. And nothing happens to my plants because they require air. We have to allow that excess water which is inside the pot also to drain out, also to evaporate. And then air comes in. Oxygen is required by the roots. And if air does not come in, then tomorrow when you water it, there is no pressure, air pressure inside the pot to push this fresh water into your capillaries and into your plant. So it is very important to let it dry out also and to water. If you follow this system, you will not kill any plant. A lot of your plants die in summer also because of overwatering. So if you water in the mornings and mist in the evenings, then it's very good. Also, what happens is that sometimes your hole gets blocked. So watch out, is the water flowing out or is the water standing? Water from your pot should flow out, go down into the soil within 30 to 50 seconds, not later than a minute. If you find water is standing beyond a minute, then your hole is blocked. If you allow that blockage to remain, once again, you're going to create root rot. Now the roots are not getting air to breathe, so they are going to get rotted, and that's how your plant will wilt, and you will think ki pani nahi hai, and you'll again add more water. So in between, please take up your pot, lift it up, and with a bamboo stick, just poke it into the hole so that you dislodge any soil which has got compacted around this hole. then you will see a gush of water coming out. If you find that the water is standing on top for more than 50 seconds, then you take a stick and shake your pot, and immediately that water gets drained out. Or make holes on top. Make holes on top deep enough up to the root system, and you will see some of the water flowing out. So watering is also a skill. Watering is not just something that you do routinely. It is a skill. One other way which I can tell you of seeing that your plant continues to keep getting water is that take 2 Bisleri bottles, small Bisleri bottles, cut off the neck, and with a thoda mota sui, which has a finer needle, heat it on a gas and prick some small holes on this Bisleri bottle, okay, on the sides, and put this Bisleri bottle, put it into the soil of your pot or near your roots of your trees, and fill it up with water. Now through this hole, it's like drip irrigation. Water goes down to the root level in a very soft, very minute amount and keeps that area moist. So it's a kind of drip irrigation, and every time you come and you find this bottle is empty, then you pour water in the bottle rather than everywhere else. So this is one way you can do it even in big pots. But when you're doing it in big pots, put both the bottles on either side of the trunk. If you don't do it on either side of the trunk, then whichever side of the trunk you put this bottle, there the roots will start developing faster. And that side of your plant will grow better and the other side will start deteriorating. So put it on both sides. And so save all these. This is the way we can recycle all these small bottles, because otherwise they are adding to our landfill and you know what is happening everywhere. So if you can recycle and in fact buy them back from your kabadiwala and use them in your garden. This is a very good way of drip irrigation, especially if you're growing vegetables on your terraces, then you can put it near your vegetable patch and it will keep it moist. So these are some of the ways if you have terraces and balconies, please don't forget to rotate your plants. You must rotate your plant 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 so that all sides get enough sunlight and air and everything. So these are some of the tips. I think I've taken up enough time. So if there are any questions.
I don't think you have taken up enough time. I think we've all been listening with absolutely rapt attention to what you've been saying. It's been a fascinating 45 minutes, Shamaji, and we've learned so much from
you.
what you have said. So, to quickly recap, some of the things which you've said is first of all, not to be an armchair gardener, to be proactive and go check on the plants yourself. Not to overwater the plants, preferably use a shower head and ensure that the roots get water as well. We should feed them maybe every 15 days.
Light feed.
Right. Microenzymes are important for the plants, right? Bioenzymes, okay. And to create a humid condition for indoor plants that they all stick together and they thrive. So I hope I've got the gist of it, but thank you. Sorry.
One last point is to watch out for insects.
Okay.
And if you're giving bioenzymes, you will see all your insect problem also gets tackled. No insects come near, only your friendly insects come to fertilize your Nibu ka tree, your ghee ka plant, all those for which you need pollinators. So you will encourage pollinators. So you're creating a very good environment by using bioenzymes.
Okay. So if there are any questions, please unmute yourself and ask Mr. Balbir. Are there any questions?
Uh, Shama, I was just wondering, now in summers
Yeah.
we are getting watermelons and muskmelons and mangoes. Can we use
Yeah.
those skins of these fruits
Yes,
for
yes,
making
yes.
bioenzyme?
Oh, yes. Watermelon skin is very, very nutritious. It's very good. And banana, use banana. Banana has a lot of potassium in it, phosphorus in it. So it's very good. In fact, don't throw the banana peels. Please put them in your pots. And they will, especially your flowering pot. If you keep it in your motia, mogra, hibiscus, you will see a new flush of buds.
Any other questions? Anybody else would like to ask anything? I think everybody is still kind of.
Yeah, I think they've absorbed most of it.
No, I
So
think Sujata has
hopeful.
a question. Sujata, would you like to ask your question? Please unmute yourself. Sujata?
About banana peels, Shama,
Yeah.
you mean whole peels or do we chop them up or shall we use the water?
Whichever way you like. If you want to cut them into smaller pieces and put it around the root system, it's fine. I just take the whole peel and I put it in the soil. I'll just kind of, dig a little bit and allow the soil to cover this banana peel. And it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. You can also make a tea out of banana peels. So you boil it in 4 times water and allow that liquid to cool down and feed it to all your flowering plants.
Can you add it to your indoor plants as well? This.
Why not? But it's better for flowering plants, but it's phosphorus and potash is something which is required by all plants in a balanced form.
Okay.
So you can put it in your indoor plants also.
Right. Okay. Some of the comments in the chat section. This is from Charu. Thank you so much, Shyamaji. It was extremely enlightening as always. Pratibha Malvia, fantastic, very informative. Fantastic always from Radhika. So I think that sums up
Thank you.
the entire session which we've had with you. It's been such a delight listening to you
Thank you.
again and learning from you. So thank you
Thank you. Thank you.
agreeing to be part of our session this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Any other questions? No? Okay. All right. Sorry, did I hear something? Okay. And with that, I thank all the members who have joined this evening. Thank you for joining in and listening to what Mrs. Balbir had to say. We look forward to seeing you again soon. Till then, stay safe, stay well. Have a lovely evening. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Andy, where is everybody now? Everybody's gone to sleep. All right. Good night, everyone.